I'm sure you are. That's what she said. They're not going to blow shit up.
Yeah, so
They
it's
just
just
last week. I guess they're doing something. Just for a little while. It's just
arms are just long enough.
stop.
Okay, 6 o'clock, we're going to get started. Before we do roll call, though, I'd like to introduce and welcome our two new members of Planning Commission. We have Nick Deal and Derek Smith. Welcome. Norwood, would you like to? With you? Thank you.
Here.
Present?
Here.
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 We have the agenda here.
Move to approve.
And has anybody signed up? Sunshine. The meeting minutes for the last meeting.
Second.
Abstain due to absence.
Okay. All right. So we have, everybody else is in favor of approving them then? That's not abstain? Okay. Thank you. All right, we have some public hearings this evening. And our first one.
So the first public hearing tonight is a request for final plat approval. The project is Communities of Burwell North, Phase 4, lots D1 through D6 and H20 through H23. The file is 2106. The developer is Burwell Properties LLC and the surveyor is Roberts Land Surveying. It's located in the Falling Waters District, map 13, parcel 10.4, and is located on secondary route 8, 1 mile from Knighttown. This final plat proposes the development of 10 single-family lots on approximately 4 acres to be served by public water and sewer. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends final plat approval contingent upon receipt of the surety in the amount of $145,260. Plat to be released upon receipt of that surety and the developer's agreement.
Okay, so this being a public hearing, if there is anybody that would like to come forward from the public to make any comments, please do so at this time.
Make the motion for first public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Good evening, Mike Roberts, the representative project.
You guys have any questions?
Just to clarify, we have it all.
Okay.
We have everything we need.
Motion from anyone?
I'll make a motion to accept staff recommendation and, grant the final plat approval contingent upon the surety of $145,260.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
The second public hearing is also a request for final plat approval. The project is Ridgecrest Phase 1, lots 1 through 7, 19 through 26, and 34 through 36. The file is 318, and the developer is J. Hess Group. The surveyor is Roberts Land Surveying. It's located in the Arden District, map 16, parcel 6, and is located 3.3 miles southwest of Route 11 along Paynes Ford Road. This final plat proposes the development of 18 single-family lots on 90.2 acres to be served by private well and septic. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends final plat approval contingent upon receipt of the surety in the amount of $195,024. Plat to be released upon receipt of that surety.
Thank you. With this also being a public hearing, anybody of the public that would like to speak regarding Ridgecrest?
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Favor?
Good evening again, Mike Roberts, representative project.
You have the developer's agreement on this one.
Yeah, I think it was just copy of the developer's agreement.
Any other questions?
Make the motion, we accept staff recommendation and grant the final plat approval contingent upon surety and $195,024.
Second.
All in favor? Against?
Thank you.
The next public hearing is another final plat approval. The project is Bridle Creek Phase 5, Section 1, lots 289 through 304 and 349 through 372. The file is 21-13. The developer is Panhandle Homes and the engineer is Fox and Associates. It's located in the Apecan District, map 10, parcel 20.1, and is located on the north side of Eagle School Road, approximately 1.5 miles northeast of its intersection with Route 9. This final plat proposes the development of 40 townhomes on 4.09 acres to be served by public water and sewer. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends final plat approval contingent upon receipt of the surety in the amount of $629,520, and the plat to be released upon receipt of the surety, and we have the developer's agreement.
Thanks. Anybody from the public that would like to speak to this project, Bridle Creek?
Ladies and gentlemen.
When you get to the
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clarence Settle. I'm representing myself and my wife, Susan Settle. Susan and I moved into the Bridle Creek subdivision in January of 14. We were told and given information that the community would have a recreational area, swimming pool, walking trail, and fishing. Per the mission statement of the Berkeley County Planning Commission, the department's mission is to help protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the county. This is achieved by providing direct and oversight, orderly, sound, and cost-efficient land development within Berkeley County. throughout the administration of the subdivision regulations. We are here to assist the citizens of Berkeley County and encourage the residents to contact the office. The following is a chronological list of actions that have taken place in the last 5 years since we lived here. Berkeley County Planning Commission meetings, 8/17/15. Commission granted developer request to reduce the open community recreation area from 5.5 acres to 3.5, and additional to the developer. An additional 8 acres was made available to the developer that took away from the community lot. 10/19/15, an exemption from section 705 and of the 2009 subdivision regulation requiring sidewalks was granted to the developer. No sidewalks. The final approval of phase 4, which reflects the requirements for a half-acre stormwater management system in the recreational area. This further reduces the community recreation area. In 2019 and going on to 2020, there are 3 areas of construction that you have approved of Iron Creek: phase 4, phase 5, and phase 6. Currently, there is construction with heavy-duty equipment in all 3 areas. 30 to 40 homes are in the middle with 10-wheel dump trucks running all day long in the subdivision up to 6 days a week. Track hose were running over the newly paved roads from phase 5 to phase 4 and 6. This was discontinued after I discussed this issue at the development roundtable. Our subdivision roads were not built to withstand heavy-duty equipment, and it is a safety hazard, danger, and risk, and destroying the roads. How are homeowners notified about road bonds being released? That's a question. Eagle School Road cannot handle the capacity of traffic. When the school buses are running, there's at least one school zone that causes congestion twice a day, further than backing up traffic. How often are traffic studies required? Bridle Creek Subway has been under construction since 2005, going over 15 years. How long does the developer have to complete the project? How long do we need to live in a construction zone? Development in Berkeley County is overtaking the resources available to the county, i.e. roads, school, water, sewer. The Berkeley County Planning Commission should not approve any development in the county until there is an impact statement for each site that looks at the roads, schools, water, and sewer, and the quality of life in the county. Is it in the best direction and oversight for orderly, sound, and cost-effective land development within Berkeley County to administration of the subdivision regulation? We don't feel it is. This is the list that we would like to be addressed. How are homeowners notified of road bonds being released? How often are traffic studies required? How long does the developer have to complete the project? How long do we need to live in the construction? I thank you for your time. I'd like to look you in the eyes and ask you that. And one other thing is, in August, I took the time to apply to become a member of this board. I went to the council in August and I did an interview with them. As of this date, I've heard nothing back. Going twice to the office to ask them. Pretty rude and crude that the county council don't even since it takes time. Holiday, we have time. Back to you. Appreciate it.
Is there any other public comments?
Make a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
So some of the questions that Mr. Settle had are staff questions, and some are for the developer, if you would like to comment on the rest of any.
I can answer some, and then Mr. Sianovich can add to it. As far as the road bond releases, I know whenever the request to release or reduce a bond is submitted to planning and engineering, it's reviewed, evaluated, and if the engineer decides that a reduction is warranted, then he sends a notice to county council, and that goes on an agenda. So the means of finding out if a bond is being released would be to check the county council agenda. And that's how we do it, as well as a planning department.
On the website.
On the county council website.
And he had a question about.
I'd like to speak to that. Good evening. My name is Steve Sianovich. I'm with Fox and Associates. I'm here representing the developer Panhandle Homes of Berkeley County. With regard to the traffic study, obviously we're here this evening for Phase 5 of Bridle Creek. Phase 6 was a preliminary plan that was before this board not too many meetings ago. As you're all aware, there's a list of requirements in order for us to be to this point this evening on whether we do a final plat or a preliminary plat or whatever it may be. Many of the items that Mr. Suttle spoke of, for example, the school impact. As you're all aware, we complete a school impact fee and submit it to the Planning Commission on each and every job that we do. With regard to Division of Highways, the requirements of the Berkeley County Planning Commission are that we provide either one, an addendum or an addenda from the Division of Highways, granting the approval of a subsequent section within a community, or if there's a second or third entrance into the community, the Division of Highways typically provides for a separate permit. In this particular case, we did receive an addenda from the Division of Highways for the Section 5 or Phase 5 project. But I did mention a moment ago, Section 6 was before you not too many meetings ago. And at that time, given the age from the beginning of the project to present day and the change in traffic patterns, the Division of Highways required us to develop and amend a traffic study for Phase 6. That was approved by the Division of Highways, which led to the permit addenda being issued for Phase 6. So to answer Mr. Suttle's question, I guess there isn't a definitive answer how often traffic studies are updated. It's more of a case-by-case basis. But in this particular instance, it was just updated several months ago for Bridle Creek. And also we forecast future lots through Phase 9 and 10 of the community in order for the traffic study to take that into account when it was prepared by the traffic engineer. I think Heather spoke to the bond, so I really have nothing to share other than any resident. I look at it online on occasion as well. What's on the county council for a reduction. Mr. Suttle also spoke about the amenities, and of course that amenity site plan and final plat was approved quite some time ago. I'm not sure what other comment I can offer with regard to Mr. Suttle's concerns over the amenity site, which is in existence, the plans are approved. As far as the construction traffic, it's an ongoing subdivision. Ellen Henry could certainly speak to some of this, but much of the traffic is using secondary access, the permitted access into the site, and not using the primary access that residents in the community would use to gain access to their homes. Now, certainly, can he have control over every sub that comes in to work in the community? Well, no. I think he can, give direction or guidance to those subs to utilize a certain access. There's really no definitive means to enforce that, I guess is what I'm saying. So with that, I don't have much more to offer on Mr. Suttle's concerns. I'd be happy to answer any questions you all may have in regard to Mr. Suttle's concerns.
What about the other question of how long does it develop?
That would, the length of time to develop a project would be in the developer's agreement, but if there's additional phases that are being added from a residue, if it's going through the full process, it would really depend on the timing of those submissions, and then those preliminary plans have 3 years before they expire.
as long as it's ongoing and they're.
Correct.
Address a couple more issues here on the number of years to complete. And this is a 650 lot subdivision. So we still have around 400 lots left to go in there. So we're probably 10 more years in building this whole project. It's, total project's like 260 acres total. And of course, the economy shut it down for about 6 years. We didn't hardly build anything in this for 6 years. And it did start in 2005. So it's been a while. And the comment about the equipment running up and down the road, again, there's dump trucks running in here, in and out of here. There's one particular area we moved, 18,000 yards of dirt off the project just to get it down level. So there's been a lot of trucks over the years. That was before Mr. Settle was there. But on the end that he's at now, where these townhouses, that was our second entrance into this subdivision, and that's all been paved now. It all is nice and clean. And there may be a little bit of dust in the off those roads because it does get a little bit of mud on the road from time to time, but we do sweep those roads. So, and again, on the equipment he was talking about, we have tracked some equipment on, but we're on base paving. It's not top coat of asphalt. That track coat puts less strain on that asphalt than a wheel loader does whenever you're running those tracks. So if we get dirt and mud on the road, then we will sweep that up. But by no means is that track coat damaged.
Say it's not hasn't had the top coat on.
No, this is not top coat. We've top coated a number of the roads, and all construction is done in that area. We try to keep any construction vehicles off like he has talked about, even from the dump trucks even going from those areas. It's all coming in from the second entrance that is all paved, and it was all gravel for 10 years. But we've paved it all nice and neat where these townhouses are being built. So it's all nice and neat through there, so they don't have the dust flying like it had been prior to the other 8 years off that gravel road.
Mr. Sutter? Public hearing is closed, but you should, that would,
The construction road, I'm familiar with that, and it is paved now, and I wasn't here, you didn't hear me complain about dust or anything else. I complained about damage in the road. Now, I'll be willing to take pictures and show you where the road is being damaged. That's my concern about the road. As far as the amenities go, yes, they finally did, after we intervened in 15, did level the lot. It was what I would call the Diamond Head of West Virginia was piled up there for 3 or 4 years since I lived there. But now they moved that on and they moved that off and they sell the stuff off, so forth. But it's still, you have 30 to 40 homes in the middle of phase 5, phase 6, and phase 4 still under construction. From a public safety and a quality of life, it doesn't make any sense to me to be doing and having this development drag on like this forever. The only thing I'm looking for is there some time limit that we have to get this construction done, or am I going to die and he's will still be under construction? That's all I'm asking. I don't think any one of y'all live at a house that you have track machines going past your house. You have dump trucks going past your house all day long. And if I knew what I was moving into, but like I said in the beginning, we were promised certain things, but I didn't think it was going to take 20 to 30 years to complete it. If I had expectations or they'd have been upfront with me on that, then I would have never moved into the subdivision. But I'm also talking about Berkeley County in general. Eagle School Road, when the school's out, you can't get out. You're going to put another 400 homes, two cars per 400 homes. That's 800 cars. 40 townhouses, most families have 2 cars. That's another 80 cars. Edward Miller Boulevard in the morning when you're trying to get out to 81, you can't even get up it. You really need to take a realistic look at construction and development in this county, because obviously the developers are running the county, not somebody looking out for the citizens of Berkeley County. Jim, I would appreciate it if they would get back to me and let me know if I've been rejected or accepted to the council. At least at the minimum they could do is let you know what, if you took the time to come to do the interview in front of the council, to say yay or nay.
We will, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Sutter. They have been noted. Planning Commission members, do you have questions? Before we say
If there are no further questions, I'll make a motion to accept staff recommendation and grant the final plat approval contingent upon the surety in the amount of $629,520.
Second.
all in favor? Any against? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next public hearing.
This public hearing is a request for a waiver for Stephen Hess preliminary final. File number is 46-19. The developer is Stephen Hess and the surveyor is Roberts Land Surveying. It's located in Jarrettstown District, map 26, parcel 94, on the west side of West Virginia Secondary Route 45/9, 1,600 feet west of the intersection of Route 45/9 and West Virginia Route 45. The project proposes the creation of 3 lots on 21.66 acres. The developer is requesting a waiver to the Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance 2009, Section 305.4.1, requiring frontage on a West Virginia Department of Highways maintained road to proceed through the preliminary final process. The waiver request is the result of self-directed and/or deliberate physical action by the applicant. In order to access the proposed lots, a new 30-foot right-of-way is being created. In a sketch plan submission, the construction and maintenance of this right-of-way, along with other items, would be more thoroughly evaluated. Engineering staff does not identify any technical issues with the waiver request and renders no objection. Planning staff recommends denial of the waiver to Section 305.4.1, requiring frontage on a West Virginia Department of Highways maintained road.
Okay, this is also a public hearing, so if we have anybody that would like to speak to this particular project at this time, please come forward.
Second.
Aye.
Representative?
Good evening, Mike Roberts, the representative of the project.
Is there any questions of Michael?
Do have one, I guess, maybe point of clarification. This application is not creating a new right of way. They're already on record. Correct. In my letter that I did, I identified this is right of way to be complete.
That's what I was looking at. That's why I questioned.
Yeah.
There are existing lots.
Well,
So they're
Mr.
platted.
Mr. Hess submitted a boundary line adjustment / merger earlier this year, and that right of way was created with that boundary line merger, which allowed previously landlocked parcels to have access to Trinity Church Road via an existing recorded 30-foot right of way. The result of that boundary line adjustment created the 27-acre parcel, which does have frontage on an existing reported 30-foot right of way, which is listed in the project note there. And the boundary line adjustment merger created an additional 30-foot right of way, which provide access to a previously landlocked parcel. These are all parcels that were created back in the 20s and 30s there along the base of the mountain, and they never had access to them. They were all always owned by the same family members, or by transferred by will and so forth over the years. So we're trying to clean a few things up with the boundary line adjustment / merger, which created the second 30-foot right of way, which which runs north-south across the property. The right-of-way that runs east-west from Trinity Church Road was a previously reported right-of-way with the book and page number listed in the project note. And Mr. Hess just wishes to be able to divide the 27 acres into two-acre lots and a approximately 23-foot residue, 23-acre residue, which pretty much runs to the top of the mountain. 2 lots down low, and then the residue would run to the top of the mountain. The parcel in question has no frontage on a what's maintained right of way.
We have the residue on Trinity Church Road.
No, that's where Mr. Hess's residence is. That's just shown for information purposes. Yeah, we're looking to create lot 1 and 2, which are create the V shape on your sketch, and the residue is 17.68 acres. And the 30-foot right-of-way that runs from Trinity Church Road up to Lot 1 is existing with the D book and page number. I know on this reduction here it's hard to read, but if you look at the project note, it's the right-of-way recorded D book 10 or 1101, page 674. Then the 30-foot right-of-way that runs along the eastern side of Lot 1 and the eastern side of Lot 2, that was created as part of the boundary line adjustment to provide access to the parcel at the end of that right-of-way, which was previously been a landlocked parcel.
Tammy.
Yes.
I see what you
I see now. Yeah, you got 17.
27 acres. Stuff I couldn't find 27 acres anywhere.
And our concern.
Where was the right of way at for these lots prior to that?
Were they landlocked too?
Yes. That parcel was previously landlocked. Like I say, the boundary line adjustment provided access for that parcel to the existing 30-foot right-of-way, and then a new 30-foot right-of-way was created to get access to the back parcel, I guess to the southern side of the tract.
Basically, you're gonna have 3 lots using it.
There'll be the 30-foot right-of-way that was created with the boundary line adjustment. There would be, yes, 3 lots. Because lot 1 would have access onto the previously recorded right-of-way. That's correct.
So would this be another instance of a maintenance?
I cannot speak to with regards to what the owner would be willing to do road maintenance wise. But if that was a contingency upon him being able to create these 2 lots for the residue, I'm sure he would consider it. I guess where we would run into an issue would be where would the road maintenance agreement end? Would it have to be carried all the way out to Trinity Church Road across the previously recorded right? Because there's probably I think at least 5 other properties up there that utilize that right away also. I think I even have the name of it on there. It does have a 911 address. Mhm.
Based on the concerns of staff, that might be something to.
Road maintenance agreement. I think that's certainly reasonable, a reasonable request.
You want that in the motion? We accept staff recommendations, so we have something in road maintenance?
Or contingent upon.
Entertain tabling it until we look for.
Correct. Yep. Okay.
Motion to table until get additional information.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
My understanding is we need to submit a road maintenance agreement, and an actual signed agreement before we can move forward, is that? Or before it can even be considered, I guess. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is a public hearing for a request for waiver. Project is Dillon Farms, file number 27-19. Developers SMR Holdings LLC, and the engineer is Gordon. It's located in the Hedgesville District, map 28, parcel 1, on the south side of Route 9, across from Roaring Lion Way, and on the east side of Butler's Chapel Road. The project proposes 234 residential lots on approximately 25.593 acres to be served by public water and sewer. The developer is requesting a waiver to two different sections of the 2009 subdivision ordinance. The first one is Article 2, Section 201, Townhome definition, reduction in continuous attached single-family units permitted in a stick from 3 units to 2. The second is Article 5, Section 504E, Table 5.3, reduction in lot width for a single-family residence detached from 75 feet to 60 feet. The waiver request to Article 2, Section 201, Townhome definition, reduction in continuous attached single-family units from 3 to 2 is not self-directed and/or deliberate as outlined in the attached justification from the applicant. The waiver would not be contrary to the public interest, health, safety, and welfare given the evidence presented. The waiver request to Article 5, Section 504.E, Table 5.3, reduction in lot width for single-family residence detached from 75 feet to 60 feet is self-directed and/or deliberate. The waiver would not be contrary to public interest, health, safety, and welfare given the evidence presented. Although the developer is requesting a lot width reduction from 75 feet to 60 feet, the proposed lots would comply with the 7,500 square foot requirement. Engineer staff concurs with the planning staff recommendation. Planning staff recommends approval of the waiver to Article 2, Section 201, townhome definition, and to Article 5, Section 504E, Table 5.3, reducing the lot width from 75 feet to 60 feet.
Thank you. Anybody here from the public that wishes to speak during this time for this project, please come forward.
Clarence Settle, do I need to sign it again? All right. Just once again, the development of Berkeley County is 200 some lots times 2 cars per lot. That's, traffic wise, I don't know how many more Berkeley County roads can handle 200, 300, 400 lot homes. We need to use some common sense in development in the county. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public?
Make a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Aye.
Representative, project?
Jason Gerhart with Gordon.
Commission members have any questions?
There are none. I'll make a motion, we accept staff recommendation. Grant the approval for the waivers. Article 2, Section 201 for townhouse definition. Waiver for Article 5, Section 404.E, Table 5.3.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
The next public hearing is a request for a waiver for Apple Valley Plaza, file number 43-19. The developer's Dulles Marketing Services LLC, the engineers DeMagno Consulting, located in the Mill Creek District, map 6, parcels 16.9, 16.1, 16.14, 17, and 103.1. They're all located on West Virginia Highway 51 and on the Winchester and Western Railroad. The project proposes a commercial tract with storage units and warehousing to be served by public water and sewer. The developer is requesting a waiver to section 501.2.h of the 2009 subdivision ordinance, requiring a minimum 50-foot setback from the adjacent railroad right-of-way. This waiver request is the result of self-directed and/or deliberate physical action by the applicant. Given the evidence presented, it is unknown if the waiver request would be contrary to the interest, health, safety, and welfare of the public. Staff acknowledges waivers to section 501.2.h, requiring a minimum 50-foot setback from the adjacent railroad right-of-way, have been approved in the past. Engineering staff recommends denial due to other identified restrictions on this property, which would require other waiver request approval. Granting this waiver alone would not rectify those issues. Planning staff recommends denial of the waiver to section 501.2.h of the 2009 subdivision ordinance, requiring a minimum 50-foot setback from the adjacent railroad right-of-way.
Okay, this project, Apple Valley Plaza, is also a public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to speak from the public at this time?
Motion to close public hearing.
Second. Aye.
Representing the project?
Yes, Andy DeMagno with DeMagno Consultants. Also, I have developers, Samir Iqbal and Amayan Iqbal are here.
Okay.
Just a couple of notes if I could. I'm confused with some of the staff recommendations. Just so everybody knows where this is. This is the Apple Valley Plaza that's on Route 51 east, right before the railroad tracks or right after the railroad tracks, depending on which way you're going. It's got the Dollar General in it, the Pizza Hut, the little ice cream shop. They want to develop from there on back to the old 51, 2 Apple Way, 2 Apple Valley Way or 2 Apple Way. This variance was given across 51 to 2 separate projects, and none of the staff report mentioned anything about it being unsure, if it's contrary to the health and safety and welfare of the public. No mention was that it was self-inflicted. I mean, they didn't have to put the buildings there. They didn't have to put them there at that size. Yet they got the waiver. Matter of fact, one of the projects didn't even mention anything, just said they wanted a waiver. And you know, I submitted a plat with this project that shows that, and I understand they didn't go through the planning commission, but there are buildings that are actually on the west side of the railroad tracks. We're on the east side. They're actually in the right of way. Now, I understand you guys didn't approve that. It didn't come through the health, or didn't come through the planning commission, but I just want you to understand. The old Musselman plant up there that's just past us on the other side of True Apple Way is only 8 feet off. I think it's a bar now. It used to be an automobile place, which is right right before you get to the railroad tracks. You come off 81. It's within 20 feet. Then you have the ice storage. I guess, I don't know if the cider press people own that or what, if that's Taylor. At one point, it's only 2 feet off the railroad, off the right of way. We're asking to get closer to the right of way than the 50 feet because we would like to have, or the developers would like to have the buildings on that side of the railroad. They think, number one, it's better for security because if it's on the other side, it's close to the residential area, which you can just kind of walk over and get in, get into the maintenance buildings and get into the warehouses. But if it's on the other side, you're gonna have a hard time bringing a pickup down the railroad tracks or coming up and down the banks and stealing something and then leaving. It's gonna be a lot easier if it's on the other side. We don't see a problem with the health and the maintenance or the welfare or anything. I mean, we have a 24-foot road, we have a 2-way road, we have parking, we have sidewalks, we have everything like AutoZone and Advanced has.
What's engineering talking about other issues?
What engineering's talking about is when we submitted the plat to the planning commission, if you look on there, if you can see where you come in off the old 51 True Apple Way, we have parking spaces on the right-hand side, which that does require a 20-foot buffer. We have plenty of parking spaces, so we're gonna alleviate those. We're gonna remove those parking spaces so that the 20 foot is there. So that's not an issue. We've talked to Dirk about that. I don't even know why that's part of the staff report. We've talked to him. And there is a building up by the ice cream shop that we plan to put that it's at the closest point. It's 30 feet away, so I don't know why that's a problem because I mean the buildings for AutoZone and Advanced Auto are closer than the 30 feet.
How close to supposed to be 50 foot off the railroad?
We want to be 8 feet from the building. The building to the right way. We don't want anything in the railroad. And we did try to get a hold of the railroad, make sure they didn't have a problem, but unbeknownst to me, the Winchester and Western has sold that railroad track. I think it's All-Terrain or Alt.
Omnitracks.
What is it? Omni. That's what it is. Omnitracks. I left a message for them, but I didn't get to hear from them today. I thought Winchester and Western still on.
What was that say? Right away.
I don't think so either. I mean, and like I say, on the other side, there's even buildings that are inside the right of way. No, not much. I mean, there are a couple of sheds, and there's some trailers that are really close, and that packing shed within 2 feet of the right of way.
Some of those.
Well, and I said that. I mean, you guys didn't approve any of that. They were their grandfather. They were there. But I mean, evidently they don't. You don't hear any problems out there, so there's no problem. And we have plenty of parking, and there's also another area that we plan to put some parking in. We do have to get around, I don't know if it says it on there, I think it's Larry Miller and Larry Ashton, their property. If you come in off the back entrance off the True Apple Way, parking spaces we have on the right-hand side they're gonna have to leave. You get 20-foot buffer there. We're gonna use stormwater walk, work recommended.
Did you say there's an entrance coming in off of True Apple Way?
Yeah, that used to be, I think it was townhouses. Ronnie Hetz had a development approved back there, and the developer bought the property off of Mr. Hetz. He never built them, but it was approved for, I think it was townhouse development. A long skinny lot. They own, I don't know how many parks. Yeah, I called today, you couldn't get anybody to talk to you, so that's the message he told me. They really don't have to say anything, because they're outside of their right of way. I mean, there are buildings that are there now physically, that's inside the right of way. Never been a problem today. I mean, they can require you to do past. It goes like that. They're not that old. 2009. They're about 3 or 4 years old. I don't have a written document. I have a voicemail, but I don't have a problem getting a written document from them. Okay. I don't have a problem getting it. Nobody's asked for that, but I don't have a problem. Sure. Jim, you got contact?
We,
Oh, that's not a problem. I mean, we'll try to get it signed. We'll actually try to get it signed. Railroad doesn't have any jurisdiction, but you haven't in the past. Not just, I mean, it's documented. Like I said, I have a voicemail. I haven't written, but I'll find somebody. Get a letter. I'll send a letter tomorrow. I'll figure somebody out.
So that would be engine.
Put on.
That would need to. We're ready to make a motion for the waiver.
Sure.
I'm making a motion, we approve the waiver contingent upon a letter from the railroad or a letter stating that if they don't reply in 30 days, that they don't care.
That-
Right, they don't respond within 30 days, when we waive their rights.
Of concern.
That's fine. I'll send Heather a copy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was all of our public hearings. The rest are agenda items. Next is request for consideration. I was looking at the agenda. Sorry, the staff report says a public hearing.
So, it's been before planning commission as a public hearing before for the same
That just
thing,
got
so,
stuck on there.
yeah.
Okay,
It was a copy from the previous report.
when it was a public hearing. Okay,
Gotcha.
okay. Thank you.
All right, so, yes, this is a request for consideration for Whispering Pines Townhomes, file 71-02. The developer is Dan Ryan Builders and the engineer is Fox and Associates. It's located in the Mill Creek District, map 10, parcels 50, 50.4, 50.5, and 50.6. Property is located on the east side of County Route 8 and south of Route 51 at the end of Scotch Pine Drive and Whispering Pines Drive. This project proposes 171 townhomes on 28.06 acres to be served by public water and sewer. It's had a few extensions and so forth. On February 5th, 2007, Planning Commission denied the request for modification to Section 902 of the Berkeley County subdivision regulations to allow 5 feet of the required 20 feet between the rear yards of townhomes on individual townhome lots. At the April 15th, 2019 Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission voted to approve a waiver to Article 8, Section 801, Table 8-1A of the Berkeley County subdivision ordinance requiring a minimum of 1 parking space per attached dwelling unit to be off-site. In a letter dated May 20th, 2019, the developer requested an 18-month extension to allow time for the major plan change to be approved. Staff recommended denial of the requested 18-month extension, but supported an extension with an expiration date of December 31st, 2019. Planning Commission voted to approve a December 31st, 2019 expiration date, and if the major plan change was not approved, then the project was to restart at the sketch plan phase. A copy of the engineer's letter is attached recommending advancement of the plan change once planning comments are addressed. And based upon the supporting documentation provided by the applicant, the owner applicant has incurred additional expenses and is in active pursuit of bringing the project into compliance with current subdivision and stormwater management regulations through the major plan change process. Staff recommends granting the requested 6-month extension with a new expiration date of June 28th, 2020.
Representative of the project, please.
Steve Sianovich with Fox and Associates. Also with me this evening is Matt Powell. Matt is the gentleman that authored the letter that was included in your agenda packet. There are a few updates that I'd like to make, if I could have just a few minutes, please. Few minutes. In the letter Matt Powell wrote, he talked about Berkeley County Public Water. And I think he said something along the lines that we're working on a final comment with those guys, or with that department. Just to update you that we are on their agenda for a week from Monday, a week from tonight, December 9th, for approval by the Berkeley County Public Service Water District. And as you all may know, that their approval is a prerequisite to filing with the West Virginia Office of Environmental Health Services to obtain the water and sewer construction permits. We're unable to submit to that agency, the state agency, until we have physical signatures on the plans by the Berkeley County Public Service Water District. And also that entity signs one of the applications referred to as the EW 100. In the case of water and sewer permits issued by the Office of Environmental Health Services, the permittee is always the respective public service district. It's not Dan Ryan Builders, or Panhandle Homes, or whatever the case may be. So that's why we're sort of, our hands are tied until we get the approval of the Berkeley County Public Service Water District before we could submit to the Office of Environmental Health Services for that permit. Just one other comment, if I may, and then I'll keep quiet. The last page of your packet, at least what I downloaded online, is a letter that Laura wrote to me, dated October 2nd of 19. I'd just like to take a minute and go through items 1A through 1E. Berkeley County Public Service Water District, I spoke to that a moment ago. Berkeley County Public Service Sewer District, that approval letter from John Wood was attached or included in your packet you received from Mr. Powell. Division of Highways approval, we're still working with DOH. We had some issues with the extent of water line installation along Route 51 that we had to work out before we could make a formal submittal to DOH, which has been done. And lastly, items 1D and 1E. Again, in order to submit to that agency, the Office of Environmental Health Services, we need the plans approved, signed, and as well as the application signed by the Berkeley Public Service Water District. The permits can be applied for independently, but as Matt Powell noted in the letter contained in your packet, we have to pay double the fees and that type of thing. And it's normal and customary to submit the water and sewer applications in one application. And of course, they issue permits, two separate permits, because there are different entities who become the permittee. I didn't have any further updates beyond what Matt put in his letter to this commission. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Planning Commission. Any questions?
Make a motion, we grant a new expiration date for June 28th, 2020 for a 6-month extension.
Second.
All in favor? Yes? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We move to agenda item number 8.
This is a request for preliminary final plat approval. The project is Mills Parcel 3A and Residue, file number 47-18. The developer is Craig Mills and the surveyor is Roberts Land Surveying. It's located in the Arden District, map 19, parcel 3, and is located on the west side of near Bethel's Way, approximately 2,000 feet south of its intersection with Route 31/1 and secondary Route 19/1 near Vanville. The project proposes the creation of one lot consisting of approximately 17.28 acres and a remainder lot consisting of approximately 16.19 acres. Proposed lot to be served by public water and sewer, and the residue served by public water and existing septic reserve. The county engineer, Dirk Stansberry, issued a letter of approval on October 9th, 2018, stating a review of the above-mentioned project had been completed and was found to be in compliance with the subdivision ordinance. The project is found to be complete in compliance with the 2009 Berkeley County subdivision regulations, and therefore staff recommends approval of the preliminary final plat.
Representative?
Mike Roberts, we represent the project.
Any questions?
If there are no questions, I move accept staff recommendation and grant the approval of the preliminary final plat.
In favor?
Aye.
Any against? Thank you.
Thank you.
This is also a request for preliminary final plat approval. The project is Cushwaw and the file is 28-19. The developer is Brian Cushwall and the surveyor is Greg Gabernetsky. It's located in the Mill Creek District, map 9, parcel 22.9, and is located half a mile west on Route 51/5, which is Hinshaw Road. It says from intersection with Route 11 in Bunker Hill. The project proposes the creation of 2 lots, one lot to be approximately 0.56 acres and lot 2 to be 0.68 acres, both to be served by public water and sewer. County Engineer Dirk Stansberry issued a letter of approval on November 26, 2019, stating a review of the above-mentioned project had been completed and was found to be in compliance with the subdivision ordinance. The project is found to be complete in compliance with the 2009 Berkeley County subdivision regulations, and therefore staff recommends approval of the preliminary final plat.
We have a representative?
Rob,
Could you please sign in? Any questions for Robin Cushwall?
Sir, I'll make the motion, we accept staff recommendation and grant the preliminary final plat.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Thank you. Okay. Go down to number 9.
The first item under number 9, staff council discussion action, we had a public hearing recently regarding Springdale Farm, and there were quite a few people that attended and voiced concerns about the entrance to Springdale Farm. So I offered to follow up with Planning Commission to give a little bit more detail on that entrance, and the decision for the evening was regarding a final plat, I believe, and it continued through. So there's no decision that needs to be made on this. This is just information to share with you about why staff deemed it complete and ready for approval, and to give some background and visuals for you as well. So there was a permit issued on May 13th in 2005. And the conditions of the permit included 2 20-foot entrances, a deceleration lane, and it indicated it would serve lot numbers 1 through 244. So I've attached a copy of the permit, and this is basically a summary of it because they're a little hard to read, but you can at least see that they were issued. So there's a copy of the permit with the conditions, a copy of the preliminary plat pages that illustrate the entrances, and a 2007 aerial image of the completed entrances. And I believe the 2007 image actually is a good illustration where you can see the contrast in the pavement that shows where they did put in all of the things that were required by the permit. So that's there for you to take a look at it. Matt Powell is also here, and he offered to answer any other questions that you might have regarding this.
To me.
Thanks for getting this information together.
You're welcome. I know the visual helps, and we sit here knowing we've seen it all, and you're making a decision based on a 2-page staff report. So we're more than happy to get it together for you so that you can take a look at it.
Thanks for making yourself available, Mr. Powell. Questions? What about the people that expressed their concerns while they were here in public?
So that's one of the reasons I included it in the packet. So this packet is posted on the website, and if they call in and have any follow-up questions, we can refer to this and show that.
So it would be available?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But we probably have to direct it to.
Right, right. Mm-hmm.
Like you said, we don't have to do anything else.
Okay. Moving on to the airport ordinance, I just have a few things I'll hand out to you.
subjects that have a potential conflict. Maybe, maybe not. So I don't know if you all would like me to step out and have a discussion.
Do we feel he needs to step out?
Not, I don't think for
Not
this.
for what we're.
If a project would come up concerning this.
Okay. This is just,
But we'll get legal's advice on that.
Right.
this is to talk this evening whether or not we're going to put it forward from this body to council.
Right. So the first thing that I gave to you is just a refresher of the existing ordinance adopted in 2004. The very first page is the overlay, so you can see that it's in black and white. It's not digital. The roads, if you look at the left-hand side of the airport, some of the intersections don't even exist on that based on the time that the illustration was drawn. So this is what we currently have to use for enforcement of the 2004 ordinance. And then following on the image is the actual ordinance itself, referring to height and sound and the restrictions. So just wanted to give that to you as a reminder of what's currently in place and being enforced until we make our decision on the new airport ordinance. Okay, the copy I just gave to you is the draft currently being considered. Included in this, there are red lines that were the changes made after we met and discussed and received some comments from Planning Commission. There are items like the table of contents and sections that weren't labeled, so when we went to refer to a certain portion of it, I didn't have the Article 1, Section A, point 1, point 2, point 3. Those items were not in there, so they have been added to this version. Also included on page 16, you can see where it references non-conforming existing uses maintained or destroyed. The red is what was added and provided to you probably over a month or so ago. I did have an opportunity to meet with Norwood and talk about some few minor edits, and there's the orange item. So page 16B, where it has added at the end, or destroyed with intention of rebuilding. Those items I added and sent to you last week. So since I sent it to you last week, there have been no other changes. Also included with this are the overlays at the end. They are currently listed as individual images, so people are able to zoom in and see an overlay of the aerial photography and how it corresponds to the different overlays. The legends were added since our last public hearing with County Council. So you can see where the red line is a height zone, the orange is the sound, and the yellow is a runway protection zone. I'd like to point out that as far as the sound zones are concerned, this version has the smallest possible sound zone restriction of the 3 options that were presented the last time we went before council. So the primary request for this evening is based on this version of the proposed airport ordinance. Would you feel it's ready to go before County Council? And if you make that motion to have that happen, there would be 2 public hearings again with County Council per state code before it would actually be considered for adoption.
2 additional times the public can comment.
That's correct.
I mean,
On this version.
on this version.
Mhm. So if you make that decision tonight, this version will get posted to the website and shared with county council for them to go through that process. The items that were redlined, just to note, there was Mr. Bright that was in here with concerns about the real estate disclosure. There was also a representative from Sheets regarding that property and how they would be impacted by this ordinance, and I believe that all those concerns have been addressed.
So everybody's had this for a week.
They've had the red for a month, the orange for a week. So those three minor adjustments.
There's about 10 current residential properties that I think are within yellow lines that have been existing. I mean, that's what I can count here.
Okay.
Just making.
And if they're existing residential, they would fall under that maintained or destroyed non-conforming use, and they'd be permitted to rebuild.
Proceeding with the airport ordinance.
I believe we've talked about this quite a bit for the last year and a half, I think, so now I'm going to make a motion and move forward with sending this to the county council.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain. It's going to come to me anyway.
Abstentions. Sorry.
I'll vote for it.
Okay, well, let's be clear here.
Two abstentions.
2 abstentions.
Everybody else voted for it, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
no against.
4 2 abstentions.
Okay. So it's going to go to,
Okay, thank you very much.
that will be on which, our next meeting, council?
Probably not.
Penny will have to schedule it and decide which.
Well, not this, sorry, not this week,
Maybe, I
not
think,
this Thursday.
if I'm not mistaken, Alan has us a pretty full agenda for the next week or so.
Right, it might be a January, February.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
No problem.
Mhm. Okay. And then the only other items I had on the agenda, update on the Llama software. We're still having our weekly calls to move forward with the electronic or the software to manage our projects. And subdivision ordinance, now that we've got the airport ordinance moving into its next step, you'll start seeing chapters from the subdivision ordinance for consideration.
Anything else?
I apologize for being meeting at church I was at. There are 2 new members of you guys. Thank you.
They did give me.
Who's the adjourn?
I'll second. I gotta go get a tissue.
Thank you.
On my nose.
I don't need to do the meetings, guys.
I thought you did good.
You'll have Linda back.
You did good.
It's not so bad.
I'll shake your hand, but I'm sick, buddy.
I hope you feel better.
I went and got some antibiotics.
Did you do any hunting yet?
I ain't felt good enough to go. I've had this cold since
Yeah, like
Thursday,
yours
and
said.
then,
He stayed.
first part of this week, I didn't get to it.
That's probably